We all want to know how we can better connect with customers and ultimately win more deals, right? On today's episode, we're going to talk to you about how you can use LinkedIn to do exactly that. And I'm not talking about spamming people. This is genuine connection, and you're going to really love our guests. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Here on TSC TV on YouTube. I'm glad you're watching. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit subscribe. We greatly appreciate that. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or any of the other podcast directory, please subscribe and leave us a rating and review. It goes a long way. Super appreciate that. Today, my guest is Jeroen, and he is the co-founder of a company and that is in the CRM space. I won't give you any detail about it until you hear it from his mouth because he's going to lay it out effectively and so well. But he's doing some amazing things, and I want you to connect with him. But before that, in this episode, I just want to tee it up again. We're going to talk about LinkedIn, give you all of the great content ideas that you could take advantage of to make sure you're staying on top of your game so you can connect with those customers and ultimately win more deals. Don't take my word for it. Let's go ahead and talk to our guests and dive into the content.
Welcome to the show, Jeroen.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Hey, I'm excited to have you. I'm looking forward to picking your brains a little bit as we talk a little bit more about LinkedIn, how we can take advantage of LinkedIn and utilize it to win more customers and ultimately win more deals. But before we dive into all the fun stuff, why don't you tell us a little bit more about you, man, and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm a co-founder and CEO of SalesFlare. And SalesFlare is an easy-to-use and automated sales CRM for B2B companies. And it's small businesses mostly, almost exclusively small and medium-sized businesses. Many of those are marketing agencies or somehow fast-growing startup companies. And the way we differ from many of the CRMs is that in SalesFlare, you don't have all the nasty data input. It sort of all gets in there in an automated way. So we built it on top of existing data, and we started it with the idea that automated data is what it should be. Mm-hmm. And of course, it still allows the manual data input. Instead of many CRMs have the opposite perspective. Things are manual and we can automate some stuff. We took it from the what if all the data you need to put into a CRM is already somewhere, and we make it easy for you to sort of manage that.
All right, so you're making my brain twist now because this is like mind blowing for any sales rep. So let's say I have a prospect I'm connected with. I connected with them on LinkedIn. We're connected.
Yeah.
There. How does that work? How do you pull information? Do you just, by me putting the company name in, your tool is able to gather some basic information on them that I don't have to manually add?
So LinkedIn is a pain. LinkedIn does not like to share any information with anyone whatsoever. Even you have your contacts on LinkedIn. If you export them, you will get names and that's it. You will not get email addresses anymore. It used to be like that, but nowadays you cannot get anything out anymore. If you want to get anything out, then you need to start scraping LinkedIn and all that. Even your personal contacts, you need to scrape them. It's crazy, but it's true. Our system is mainly built around emailing, meetings, calls. It does pull in some information from social media, but it doesn't go deep into it because there's no possibility to do that. It can based on the email address find the LinkedIn profile of a person often. For that we get information from some databases, but it won't get you messages and all those kind of things. It pulls in email signatures, there's email tracking, their website tracking, and all these sources sort of come together. So if you're creating a company in SalesFlare, you basically start typing its name and there's a search engine. You click
I
the
see.
right company, or you, if it's not in there, you just type the name and then specify the website. You create it. Then Salesforce pulls in more information first about the company based on its website. We'll ask some database to see what information is available. You'll get a logo, social profiles, maybe a description, how big the company is, stuff like that. Maybe an address or an email address or something. And then it will look in your email inbox and also in the email inbox of your team members if you're in a team. And it will detect who you already know at that company.
Holy crap.
We then allow you to add that person or those people with one click. It's like, yes, add that person, don't add that person, yes, add that person. We'll already have maybe found some information on social media based on the email address. We might have found an email signature in an email if the person emailed you with an email signature. So that's already there. And the moment you add people, it pulls in the emails you exchanged with them. It pulls in the meetings you had with them, the calls you had with them. And if you're actually sharing the account, like the company
Yeah.
you're selling to with a team member, then it will be a combination of the things you both did together with that company, with the people you've added to the company.
Holy moly. So now I can see what what maybe Jermaine just said to them. And especially if I'm doing something like, account-based marketing where everybody, BDR, myself might be in the account, I can see everything. And that's going to keep us up on the same game, same place, so to speak.
Yeah. So I have, for instance, in Salesforce, I have Donald Kelly as an account with the website, thesalesevangelist.com.
Sweet.
And then I have my communications with you, with May, and with Shannon.
Yeah.
It's all in one place. And we actually, I shared that with Carrie, who contacted you.
Yeah.
So we have the whole thread in there. So I just went looking in there before the call to find everything back. And it's pretty quick.
So that now the value prop to this is now sales reps, they're being, especially folks who are sitting at home, they don't have a chance to talk to their colleague and say, hey, what's going on with this deal, or to go into Slack. Everything's already there. So you cut off part of that conversation and we're able to be, work faster, especially right now. We need to be more nimble. And I know for my team, we're personalizing. We've been, anyone listen to the show, they know we've been a big proponent of personalization. But now we're personalizing even more so. So that takes the time to do that. I don't want them to spend time going through data and manually setting things up. So stuff like that makes total sense. So,
So the main thing it does is one, automates your data, so that secondly you can follow up leads better. Yeah. That's what it is about for all our customers, at least for the people who are actually selling. It makes it easy to follow up leads. And then, of course, on a management level, if people are properly using the CRM and all the data is in there, they can also have proper data to base their coaching on and see what's in their pipeline, all those kind of things. All the things that from a management level they also expect from a CRM. But that only works if salespeople are actually using it. So.
If you're not using it, then it's pointless now. Right.
Yeah.
But speaking about that, I want to transition right into the conversation. So guys, we're going to put some links back in so you can check out Salesforce. But when it comes to us making the connections, I know LinkedIn in that vein, when we are connecting with people, most of us want to know how we can utilize it, especially these days, to make better connection with our prospects, customers, and obviously to win more deals. What are some of the mistakes people are making when they're utilizing LinkedIn? Salespeople, initially. He's like, where to start?
Yeah, where to start, exactly. I get so many LinkedIn connections in a day, like incoming ones.
Yeah.
LinkedIn invites, and almost all of them don't make a lot of sense. Like first, there's the people who just connect without adding any notes, and then I'm like, okay, that's nice, but if I don't know the person, I will never add them. Yeah. I don't see why I would ever do that. And then there's people who add a note, but it immediately goes to selling. Like there's no interest whatsoever in me. It's all about their services. That happens all the time as well. Or then they have these vague things. like we're not selling. So they say that they have sort of, we have interests in common, or we're supposedly in the same industry or something.
Yeah.
And that's it just, people need to stop doing that sort of LinkedIn connecting. And if you do, try to make it as authentic as possible. Like try to imagine that on the other side there's you also.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe helps for the empathy. And then imagine if you would get that message, whether you'd be like, yes, that's interesting, let me connect, or whether you'd be like, next. Because it's not, you need to see it in the context of many people contacting others. So it sort of becomes like an inbox where you start archiving things sort of on automatic pilot.
Yeah.
It's not like you consider every message carefully or something.
Yeah.
I personally, I've done this sort of LinkedIn automation for a while, like connecting with people. In the beginning, I must say it had a big payoff, but I'm talking like 5-6 years ago. When you were running LinkedIn automation, people weren't really used to it. And even just looking at their LinkedIn profile, they would be like, oh, you looked at my LinkedIn profile? What do you want? What do you want? You know? But not anymore. That's just not
Now they
not the
know.
thing
They know
anymore.
they know what you're doing. They kind of read the play. It's like, I smell that. I know where you're
Yeah.
coming from. I know what you're doing next.
So I personally dial back to connecting only when it really makes sense. So what I'm doing, for instance, right now is any new person on our software. So if you start a trial after this, perhaps,
Yeah. He's like, look
to
at
see whether it's better than your current CRM,
that.
then automatically I have a Zap in Zapier
Yeah.
that will have your first name, your last name, the company name, and that it will put that through APIify in Google, and through that find your LinkedIn profile, and then I send that to DuckSoup, and
Yeah.
DuckSoup is running, and it connects with you, and it says, "Hey Donald, welcome to the Salesforce family. It's nice to have you joining us. Let me know if you have any feedback or questions." A lot of people really appreciate that reach out. They just signed up for our software.
Yeah.
The co-founder and CEO is reaching out to connect and to ask whether he can help in any way. And I start building relationships there, which is much more successful than me, for instance, trying to take the sort of the cold approach, I would say.
Yeah. And you see, the beautiful thing about that is going back to what you said. It's not that automation is bad. It's that it needs to be a point to when you're automating. And in that situation, especially if I did sign up for a software, raised my hand and I just signed up for something.
Mm-hmm.
I gave you permission, so to speak, to reach out to me. And if I saw the email, yes, that makes total sense. But then to see a LinkedIn connection, it's like, oh, I wonder if this is really him. Either way, it's still cool to connect with somebody from this company because I know who
people
you
often
are.
ask that. Yeah, people ask like, "Was this really you, or is this some clever automation?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no. This first message was automated, but from here it's all me." So
Yeah, and you see, and and that makes sense, But here's the thing that I keep going back on, because I find myself, and I love the phrase. This is what I use internally. Would I open that email if I got that email that I'm sending? And many times I've had to go back in and gut the email or tweak it a little bit because it just didn't seem like it would be compelling enough to the prospect. And I'm not telling sales rep to waste all day, because we go by the 3x3 rules. 3 things in 3 minutes. You can definitely craft a decent email if you can, find something on them. And especially if you're doing account-based marketing, like what we oftentimes push, you can personalize, do some initial research prior to the day or the time that you're going to do a call, so you can come with intel, and you can then personalize it, do a quick 3x3, like you're saying in your software. You could see some information, see some dialogue, and that could create a personal message to them. But I think with LinkedIn, it's the same idea too. It's give them in context of what you're trying to do, rather than the general vague or trying to pitch the sale. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and try to go for building a relationship. And what I also find, like further on your point, to be very helpful is when you are trying to automate something, like you want to
Yeah.
scale some sort of way of connecting with people, whether it's on LinkedIn or somewhere else, or whatever, that you do it manually a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
So I go, for instance, on your LinkedIn profile, and I'm like wondering, like, what will Donald respond to, you know? And then like, hit connect, write a message, try to tailor it, and then do that a bunch of times. And at some point, I will start seeing what works for me. Like I will say, Donald responded. He really liked my message, and that person also, and that person also, and that person also. And then I might start seeing a pattern and actually something that I could automate. So, for instance, it could be a largely generic message with a small personalized thing in there or so. And then you can start thinking like, okay, how can I scale this? How can I actually get that personalized message in there? I mean, the first name is not an issue, but then that thing, okay, I import a sheet, put it in there, and then that tool actually does that. So starting really from the manual, to have that empathy, to see how it can work, to have quick experimentation, and then switching to automation.
Yeah, we tried something different this weekend with our outreach, and I just did an experiment with a small number of folks. And typically, you know, when you send out, maybe say 10 people, you send out a connection request, maybe you bat about a 30-40% people respond or whatnot. So far, it's batting at about a 60 to 70%. And I'm not to the point where we're pushing it out yet, because it's definitely, like you're saying, it's personalized. And I like to personalize at scale in some, if that makes sense. And one of the things that I did, I just told people I was being vulnerable with, I was like, you know, listen, instead of sending a cheesy message, and then I said, I then went, because I recognize that many people are taught, that's a conversation dialogue people are having now. We're having a podcast about it, about those cheesy intro messages. So I put that out there first, and then I said, let's just get real. And then I said something about them personalized, or in our case, we were doing what's a lot of people here in South Florida. I said, I see that you're a sales leader, you're in my backyard in Florida, and then personalize the message towards them. So going with the idea you're sharing, that helped to generate a lot more return, because it's timely, where everyone is annoyed by those messages.
But the approach of the backyard in Florida is also an interesting one. A lot of people will not do that. They will say, oh, you're in sales, whatever, same, blah, blah. Well, if you go that little further, where you already say like, oh, and we're both in backyard in Florida, then you don't even need to personalize very far, and it's already sort of attractive. Like there is a connection there. And you can do that by thinking about your target audience in the most narrow way possible. And then working from there and maybe splitting it up, if that makes sense, so that you can, in every case, be very targeted in the message that you're sending to that person, and it's not this sort of generalistic thing they get. So things that I, for instance, respond to is if they say, for instance, we work with a lot of CRMs like this one and that one and that one, and those are exactly our competitors, then I'm like, oh, you know. But if they just say, oh, we have software development services and whatever, then I don't know. It doesn't really trigger me.
You didn't give me anything that made me feel like the warm and fuzzies that I'm actually gonna get benefit value from connecting with you. I don't, because you're not collecting connections like Pokemon cards. You're looking for people.
No, really, no.
You know, you're looking for. You don't need Pikachu or Gochu or whatever those people would call it. You need someone that could, one, potentially be customers, two, our customers, or three, that could be help your business in some way, shape, or form. And I think that's, if I look at it, you in that scenario, and I come towards you with that, then I think that makes a better impact. And even with our sponsorship for our podcast, it's amazing when we reach out to marketing directors and we bring that up. It's many of them are trying podcasting as a sponsorship opportunity, advertising. So it brings this lure, which pulls them in. And then we personalize the message a little bit towards them. We tell them how we want to help them. We say, we look at their company and we say, you're looking for customers who are just like this. This is what our audience is built up of. I'm really paraphrasing this message that our sales team use, but then they're like, holy crap, yeah, those are exactly the people that we want. And podcasting is new, and that sounds cool. We do have some marketing dollars. Maybe we should experiment and test it out. And it's amazing what happens with that. So
I was thinking, like when you take a prospect and you fully tailor it to what they're thinking about, your chances are so much higher. You can, for instance, have the same if you're sending out press releases. I know we're going a bit off the sales topic
this is
now.
still good.
But you look at like a publication and you basically take how their articles are written and you write one the exact same way. It doesn't take a lot of time to adapt whatever generalistic thing you're thinking of sending out, and you adapt it to the usual structure that they use. Your response rate will be so much higher.
Yeah. It's kind of like people like to go back to what you said about the West Palm, me mentioning the West Palm Beach thing. It's like people like people who are like them. It's like and I think it goes, I have no scientific data behind this, but I assume, and I always go back to, it's like our caveman days where we like the idea of tribe. It's like, are you from your tribe that's going to try to kill me, or are you from a friendly tribe? And know you, do I not know you? And it's like, I do know you. That makes a connection. You both hunt in the same, same forest. Great, awesome. We can be friends now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's an easy way of building trust quickly.
Yeah. I know we talked a little bit about the solution. We talked a lot about LinkedIn here. What else can we do, or what other mistakes you're seeing people make when it comes towards making those connections with prospects and customers on LinkedIn?
Well, I think we sort of covered making the connections. Well, except maybe like one step further.
Sure.
You accept someone's connection because you think like, oh, seems interesting, and then the first thing they hit you with is sales.
Yeah.
That's terribly annoying as well. Or people that start spamming all their contacts as you are a contact, that have these sort of like they're sending an email newsletter to everyone, but on LinkedIn. I hate that as well, especially if it's just clearly like a marketing email, but then in LinkedIn, it's not directed at me. It's just directed at everyone.
Yeah.
And then I generally don't respond to it. But then towards LinkedIn content nowadays, which is super powerful.
Yeah.
There's so many things you can do there, but I think people are exploring it better and better. What definitely doesn't work is sharing like some kind of generic link to an article and saying this is interesting or something. What actually works much better is I said that to one of our marketers one day, is like considering LinkedIn as Instagram.
Yes.
Like using images, try to make it personal, build a relationship, get a conversation going. That works much better than this kind of very dry information sharing, which from a business standpoint, you might think it's a business network. So let's keep it businessy and very, that doesn't work. It's actually the exact opposite type of content works the best.
Yeah. And I think that people make the mistake sometimes. They're like, okay, well, I'm just going to post a picture of me. I was going to say the dog, but that does work now. I've seen people post pictures of the dog now and say, hey, look, it's my teammate, my office mate, because you're working with the dog at home. But not like posting just a picture of the coffee, drinking a latte. Leave that for Facebook. But Instagram, like where you share a photo, take that idea, and how does that tie towards something that's maybe beneficial for my community, the sales reps. Sometimes I'll take like a photo or something that I did, or like we did one recent. I don't know if I said recently, but we had a new team member and we were going to a meeting. So I added the picture on LinkedIn, and I talked about these new team members and some of the things that they're doing. I'm so excited for them. But it was in a moment, and that gave a pretty decent interaction because people saw, one, the company's growing, two, oh, they're hiring, some more folks there, and it just brought dialogue, and it was fun. So engage people. So
engage people indeed, instead of like just sharing something very dry, not trying something very sure.
Well, man, we hit up on a lot of good stuff today. If there's one major piece of advice you want folks listening to this episode who are considering utilizing LinkedIn to help them advance themselves and their organization right now, what's that one major piece of advice?
I would just say focus very much on building relationships on LinkedIn. It's the best place. I mean, everybody business-wise is on there. So try considering it like let's say a networking party, where you don't immediately sell your services and be like, I'm this person, here's my card, and but take it as a place where you meet a lot of people, you have conversations going, you share some stuff here and there, and at some point people might want to engage in an actual business relationship.
Well, man, Jeroen, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show today. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your wisdom. If folks want to get in touch with you, check out your software, learn about you, what's the best way for them to go about doing so?
To check out our software, it's SalesFlare. It's with FLARE.com. And that's where you can find all about our software, try the software. At the top right, there's a button for that. Trials between 7 and 30 days, depending on how many steps you do in the setup. If you want to connect with me, best place is LinkedIn, actually.
But just don't be cheesy.
Do include a message. Refer to the Sales Evangelist podcast, that you liked it and all that. Then I will certainly accept. If you just send something without a note, I'll be like, okay, another person. Yeah.
Not wasting my time.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for taking the time to come on the show today, man. We super appreciate you.
This was fun.
Anytime.
That was my friend Jeroen, and if you want to connect with him and learn about SalesFlare, you can find all of the details in the show notes. If you're watching this on YouTube, just simply scroll down. You see some of the content information that we have below, some of the links going back to the website. I super appreciate him, and I super appreciate the insights that he shared. And I want you to be able to appreciate him as well. And the way that you can do that is to apply the things that he shared. If you can do that, you're going to see results. You're going to be happy. You're going to close more deals. The customers and prospects you have on LinkedIn, they're going to love you because they're going to say, man, this gal, she knows what she's doing. This little guy here, he knows how to connect with folks. They probably won't sound like that, but you get the same idea. You know, as always, I want you guys to check out my friends over at Pipedrive. If you haven't done so already, they're one of our sponsors, and they have a fantastic offer. I mean, Pipedrive is giving you they're giving you an extended trial. Typically, it's a 14-day trial, but now they're pushing it to a 30-day trial, and they're giving you 25% off the first 3 months. You can't beat that. No. You can also check out our friends over at Wingman. Wingman. You like that, huh? So Wingman is a powerful tool, that AI bot that helps you to be able to coach your team and help your team when you're not present, and also gives you insights on your calls. If you're talking too much, or if you're listening enough, or maybe the objections that you're getting, maybe it can give you some prompts. I love it, and I want you to check it out as well. So go back into the show notes, and you can find all the information to learn about Wingman. As always, it comes down to this. I want you to be able to find more of those ideal customers. I want you to know what to say when you reach out to them. I want you to be able to close more deals, but most importantly, I want to challenge you each and every single day to go out and do big things. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video today. If you enjoyed the content, I ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, that thumbs up at the bottom right-hand corner. Also, to make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. This way, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest sales strategies, latest tools, and things that are going to help you to not only find more prospects, but to close more deals. Thanks so much.